Now today we're going over a number of different things you can check to verify that the HID bulbs should be working in your vehicle. Meaning, let's say the bulb recently went out and you're finding out to change that bulb, it's quite a large job. On many vehicles you have to remove the front bumper just to change the bulb. So before you get into that, you may want to check these two things very quickly. It'll take you less than 15 minutes and you can really pinpoint if you have a problem with the light bulb or the HID bulb, or maybe you have a blown fuse or a broken wire. I'll show you very quickly on how you can check these things. So the first thing we'll check is the fuse and relay box. Now many of you know that most modern vehicles have a number of different locations for these fuse boxes. Typically there's one inside the vehicle, another one underneath the hood, and this Acura TL, this is where the fuses live for the headlights. Now how do I know that? We'll take a look at, so this is the cover obviously, take a look at the opposite end and take a look at all the fuses here. Now if I take a look at fuse number 1, which is a 15 amp, it's the left low beam, and then number 6 is the right low beam. So these are the two low beam fuses. The high beam would be number 3 and number 5, as you can see, but in this case we want to check number 6 and number 1. Now the first fuse, which is on the left, for the left low beam, is this guy right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want number 6 and number 1. So go ahead, pull the fuse, and just take a look at it. And as you can see, this fuse is in good shape. If this was broken, typically they break in the middle, then just replace it and you'll be in good shape. Let's just check the other 15 amp here. And as you can see, this one is in good shape too. So very important. Always check the fuses. The next thing to check is if power's getting to the headlight. So in other words, let's say for example, the driver's side headlight is not working. I want to verify that power is getting from the battery to this headlight. Now in my case, to get clear access to the harness connector, I have to remove this plastic cover. Okay. Now if we take a look, I have a harness connector right here. Now in many HID units you have something called an inverter, and you want to verify that the harness connector going to the inverter, because this is really what powers the entire unit for the HID. So I want to verify that power is getting to this harness connector. Now on the flip side right here, there's a tab. You press down on the tab and you pull out. So if I did that too quickly, let me just show you once again. You just pull down the tab and pull out, okay? Then we're going to grab our multimeter. Now this is a digital multimeter. If you don't have one of these, I'll include a link to Amazon where you can purchase one right away. And this actually I did purchase off Amazon a few months ago. It's a nice little unit, wasn't expensive at all. And the setting that you want, as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do, but you want volts DC, not AC, but DC. Now all that I'm going to do is turn on the lights, and I want to verify that power is getting to this harness connector. So if I take a look at this harness connector, I have two wires. I have a black wire and the other one is red and green. Now the red and the green is the power wire, okay? The black is your ground. So I'm just taking the red lead from the multimeter and I'm going to hook it up to this prong, which is on my left. So number 1. So the red lead goes to number 1, and then the black lead goes to ground. That's any good metal point, and we should see battery voltage. Okay, so again, the black lead is going to ground. I have my red lead, terminal 1. You want to see battery power, so roughly 12 volts. I may be a little low. I have not run this car in a few weeks, but here we go. So there you go, it's getting power. I'm, again, 9.5 volts, so I'm a little low on the battery, but nonetheless, it is getting power. Now, if you don't get a reading here, if you see something like this, you don't see a reading, then you have a break. You have a wire break between the fuse box that we just checked and this wire over here. So you have to track that down. So again, check the fuses, make sure that power is also getting to the harness connector. Now there's one more thing we can check, and this can really pinpoint if you have a problem with the inverter. And what you want to do is set your multimeter on the ohm setting, okay? That's the omega symbol. Again, my black lead is still on ground. And going back to this wire, if you remember, we just tested the red wire for voltage. Now I want to test the black wire. I want to see that this is grounded correctly. So once I place the red lead to the black wire, we should see a reading here. And as you can see, we have roughly 1.9 kilo ohms. So that tells me this is grounded correctly. If you don't see a reading here, typically it's two things. You have a break between this wire and the inverter, or the inverter is bad. So you can also try this, but typically if the bulb is not working and you've replaced the bulb, it's either the fuse or you have a break in this wire.